Yeah, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our rail panel. Welcome, guys. Good to have you here. Before we dive into our topic, short question to the audience. Who feels familiar with rail traffic in Europe? Just please raise your hands. It's just an orientation, how deep we can go. Oh, that's a vast minority. And who feels that this will have an impact on our industry within the next years? Okay, that's still not a high majority, but I think we're working on it, guys. So let's see if we convince the audience about the relevance of rail traffic. In the intro, we wrote we should learn from the old guards and the startups here on stage. And in my preparation, I found it's not that easy to divide you four into old guards and startups. It might be easy in one case, but on the other hand, and starting with you, you're the CEO of SNCF Connect and Tech, which is the distribution and technology arm of the French National Railway. How do you feel? Are you a startup? Are you a very old guard? SNCF is founded before the Second World War. Your company is founded, I think, in 2022.
So we were founded, SNCF Connect and Tech was founded as voyagesncf.com, so it was founded in 2000. But we are still a startup, because we are a startup every day. The environment is changing. You talked about whale traffic, you talked about the impact whale can have on our environment. Of course, it's changing every day, so we need to behave like a startup. So we feel like a startup every day. But what is true is that the rail industry, taking a train is something quite old. Back in the 19th century. It has changed a lot because now we have a more diverse offering of trains. It's becoming easier and easier because we all have in our pockets this type of devices. And we are making, and as SNCF Connect, so maybe a few words, SNCF Connect and Tech, you said we are part of SNCF, that's in our name. We have two main activities. We are a distributor of mobility services, not only train tickets, but all sorts of mobility. And we are also a tech provider for the rail industry and the mobility industry. What is true is that what we are providing, for instance, with SNCF Connect is an all-in-one of mobility for our users. And in providing that, we are hoping, I was talking about the environment that is constantly changing, we are hoping to change the way people are using mobility services and that they could use less their cars, their individual cars, and more shared services like train, but also public transport like buses, shared bikes, etc. So,
yeah, we're going
answering to your question, we are a startup every day because the environment is changing and we are changing with this environment. Yeah. And we are hoping to make an impact on this environment.
Of course, multimodal transport will be a core of our discussion. But Paul, coming to you, Eurostar, founded in 1990. It's always sexy to say we are a startup. I think everyone says this here. But how are you currently? You just merged with Thalys as another large rail operator in Europe. More startup, or are you getting an old guard now?
I would say we're still a young pup.
Yeah.
I think we're 30 years old this year from a Eurostar point of view. We've just merged with Thalys 2 years ago. We're still going through that integration program in terms of inventory teams, but also determining what the experience we want to have on board. We just announced a few weeks ago that we are investing 2 billion in 50 new trains. So that will appear in the next 5 to 8 years. So we've got a plan now for what that experience looks like from a digitization point of view, an experience on board point of view. But to pick up Anne's point, we look at the whole journey. It's not just the train part of the journey. It has to be from the door-to-door experience. So mobility as a service is absolutely key to the Eurostar strategy going forwards.
Okay. Björn Bender, how about you? Your company is founded in 1932, also by National Railways. Now you're backed by private equities for 2 years. which means probably some shift in your business. Can you explain this a bit? What happened?
Absolutely. So maybe one sentence to Rail Europe. So maybe we are the biggest globally operating ticketing platform for European train travel. So what we are doing is setting more than 200 European train providers all around the globe to every part of our travel trade industry. And yes, we belonged more than 90 years to SNCF, to our mother company. We got independent 2 years back. And I always say to my team, yes, we really want to be everything out of those three parts. So meaning corporate, startup, and also looking at being a tech scale-up, because we are a tech company. And yes, we do have maybe the strengths out of a corporate, because we do have a network and we do have a very good back end. We do have our partnerships all around the globe, very good to have. On the other hand, we need to be a startup, test and learn. I heard it this morning a couple of times. This is where we are in, finding our new business approach, which also generates profitable business, but satisfying our customers, obviously, and investing into tech. And tech means scaling. There's no way around. So let's maybe put it into 2 words. It's a scale-up.
What happened precisely when High-Vest Capital partners came in as your new shareholder? More pressure, more agile work, or how was your experience?
More opportunities, and this is without any critique to the past. Is more, of course, about new circumstances. Because if you belong to one carrier, you can never act neutral. That's normal. You had the one task to sell, of course, train tickets outside of Europe to bring non-Europeans onto rail in Europe. But today, of course, we know the potential is that high. Anne mentioned it already. It's increasing heavily. We have seen the numbers in the morning. 350 billion, I guess, is the European travel industry, and 50 billion out of this at least is rail. And we need to imagine this. And of course, we have maybe 3 focuses to answer your question. This, of course, changed a bit with our new shareholder structure. First is that we still focus on non-Europeans, because this is where we are for more than 90 years. Second is cross-border in Europe. Very, very complex. You all know this. I have seen much too less hands when you ask this question, because cross-border is still a customer pain. And third is multinational travel. All of us in the industry, but also beyond, we are used to take the train not only in one specific country. Maybe I take one day Eurostar, the other day in Iryo to Madrid, and usually I go to the office in Paris. And bringing this together and removing the patchwork of national railway systems, this is our job. And yes, maybe it's a bit different for 2 years now.
Let's talk about Iryo. I'm glad we have Guillermo Castrillo here, the Chief Strategy and Sustainability Officer of one of the youngest railway companies or long-distance railway companies in Europe, Iryo, founded 2015. And by the way, you're also backed at least a bit by Trenitalia as a national railway. So Björn is the only one who is not backed by a national carrier, which is maybe quite interesting. But still, don't answer the question, I do it for you. Of course you are a startup, that's for sure. What are you doing different compared to the, let's say, classical state-owned train operators in Europe?
Well, we were created from zero with a big dream. We wanted to have the highest satisfaction among our clients, the highest net promoter score, and we dream big. We wanted to take care of the client as one of the main elements, and we wanted to take care of every detail along the journey. And it's been very successful. Our clients speak very well of us. We are actually having this great satisfaction and net promoter score that we dreamed of. And we have a very good recurrent base. And in this context of emerging competition in Spain with 4 companies and 4 operators and brands, we are doing quite well in only a year and a half of service, almost 6-7 million passengers per year, and so doing quite well in very little time.
Before we talk about the multimodal topic, which is an issue for all of you, but before we do this, let's talk a little bit about competition. And the question to all of you is, why is there that low competition? I mean, in Spain there is 3 train operators. We go, it's of course Renfe and it's you. But in France, it's none. In Germany, is there one? Yeah, it's Flixtrain, but it's a tiny one. So, and all over Germany, it's less competition, I would say. You can say something different. And starting with you, why is it that low competition in high-speed train?
It's starting. To be honest, it's something very capital intensive. And for the moment, you only have the legacy rail operator that have the experience and the capital and that knows how to make a profit out of that. I would say that's the first hurdle to start a rail operating company. And then it's really about opening up in each country. You were talking about France. We have a few competitors running high-speed trains in France, especially on the highest profitable route, which is Paris-Lyon. But really, I think it's because it's so capital intensive, the profit is not obvious when you are not an expert in the rail industry. And for sure, because there is also something that is not considered yet. You talked about the Spanish market, the French market. We should look at it as the European market, because indeed we have borders, but now they are thinner and thinner between our countries. Most of the countries are running with the same standards. We should be able to consider that as the European market instead of Spanish, French market, German market, etc.
I agree there. Do you see other reasons? Capital intensity, fragmentation, and standards. I think core topics already. Do you see more reasons for less competition?
Of course. I mean, we worked for 20, 30, 40 years now in national perspectives, as I said, and getting into standards is the first step. I guess, yes, we do have liberalized markets now for a couple of years. It depends on the different country in Europe, but we need to see it exactly as Anne said, as one European system first, and we don't need to be afraid for competition. Because we do have such huge challenges in our society. It's not only the sustainable or the climate discussion we have, because yes, we are the lucky part. Rail and trains are by nature green in a way, that's good. But we as Europeans, we as a global population, we are traveling more and more, so we are consuming more mobility, and we need to have answers for this, specifically in Europe, and specifically when it comes to public transport. So in every country we look, Austria, Spain, Italy. Eurostar is a wonderful example. I do the pitch now for Paul, because when you look at 1995, you had 100 flights a day between Paris and London. I guess today it's, 45, something like that. It's still a lot, but it's by half reduced. Yeah? And I guess the global flights, are 300-400% compared to 1995. So you see that an offer creates demand. And this is what we need when it comes to liberalization. And I guess every carrier, even SNCF, Renfe here, when you see the model split to Madrid from Barcelona, they benefit from it. So I'm really a huge supporter, of course, in my role, but also personally, I'm completely convinced that this is what Europe needs.
Paul, you just ordered 50 new high-speed trains. So how is your perspective for growth? Is it the old classic route through over the Eurotunnel, or are you getting a more pan-European rail operator now?
I think from a Eurostar point of view, we've got a very clear view of the world, which is we want to have an open hub strategy. So open hub means we connect in key cities, Paris, Brussels, Amsterdam, in terms of onward connectivity. So onward connectivity, partnering with other rail operators is absolutely key. So we've got a stated ambition that we want to grow our multi-connection product. On top of that, we're also looking at new markets, new routes, but also new capacity. The job that we've all got is to grow the demand. When you start looking at it point to point, so London, Paris, to take Björn's point, yes, there's still 45 flights between London and Paris. But if you look at the whole catchment of London and the southeast, and then you look at Cambridge, Oxford, up to Birmingham, if you've got a good rail system that is high speed, interconnection, seamless for the customer, then actually you're going to grow the demand for rail for the future. So we've got a stated ambition to grow to 30 million passengers by 2030. We're at 19 million today. So that's 10 million in 6 years. So investing in new fleet, absolutely. Our fleet today is 54 trains. We'll go to a combined fleet of 66 trains. So that means we're increasing capacity on our core routes, London-Paris, London-Brussels, Amsterdam-Paris going forwards. So that will absolutely happen. But interconnectivity with SNCF, SNCB, NS, DB is also very key to how we want to grow and make that journey seamless for the customer.
Guillermo, how about you? You also started a Connect program. You're connecting to tour operator, you're connecting to airlines, you're connecting to car rental, you're connecting to buses. Still, you are a rather small train operator compared to the others. How is this system running, and is it an open standard, or are you going your own way for this interconnecting?
So we have different solutions for interconnecting to different modes of transport. We are building interline agreements with some airlines to enable that they can sell our tickets connected to their own tickets. We have alliances with taxi companies to ensure that through our common app, our clients can book taxis. And we just launched in the market a solution that is connected to our website, in which any client can purchase one of our train rides connected to airlines, buses, or other rail operators. We consider that with our own trains, we only connect 11 cities. It's one of the key cities in Spain, but still we wanted to get our clients farther and ensure we can facilitate the booking of tickets, multimodal tickets throughout Spain. We consider that that's one of the key elements for us to grow, but also for the rail to become the backbone of sustainable and multimodal mobility.
How about interlining with other rail operator? Is it working?
Not with rail operators. We are having interline with airlines. So for the connections with rail operators, we are now doing it through white label with Omio. So they're actually the ones that are connecting both operators and offering to the client.
And you talked already in your intro about multimodal opportunities, multimodal transport, and SNCF Connect and Tech is doing quite a lot on it, of course. How is your status, and what is your next step to get a point-to-point service as good as possible?
So today we are providing train tickets, we are providing public transport services, bus, metro, etc. That helps you go from your starting point to the station, or from the station to where you are indeed going. We are also providing rental cars. We were providing taxi, but our partners failed recently, and we are in the process of getting a new one. But it's very important for us to help our clients to, first of all, use sustainable transport solution, but also to be able to get to the station. Because what we see is that the main hurdle to take train is really how to get there, because nobody is living, working, or going in vacation in a station. So we need to go somewhere else. And this is really by helping them get somewhere else that we can get them to the train. So next steps, reinforcing our taxi solution, improving our European connections, because for the moment we are very focused on the French market, and also getting in more anecdotal, I would say, transportation solution like bike sharing or scooter sharing. So you see, it will really be multimodal.
But it's complex, and of course it's complex. We have much more train stations than we have airports. I think that's a core reason already, but Björn, you as an expert, you as an aggregator, why is it so complicated to get a proper point-to-point connection within Europe?
No, it is luckily changing now. Huh? But I always say we are maybe 10, 15, maybe even 20 years behind the aviation industry. And we need to be realistic at this point, because what the aviation did with the IATA, I don't know, it was in the 80s or beginning of the 90s, maybe really the rail industry did after 2000. And what we now see is, of course, that we work all on standards. So maybe let's take OSDM, open sales and distribution model, as one example. It's really given to all of us in the industry, and it will get the new standard, how we exchange data, how we exchange train stations, 3-letter codes, let's say, to name it in the airline wording. And then, of course, it makes it easier. But those standards were missing for the last 30, 40 years. And we were creating national railway systems which were not communicating to each other. This is, of course, why SNCF, Renfe, Deutsche Bahn, were following their tasks they have to do for the national society and for the national economy, actually. And now it's changing. Yeah? And when I started, I'm now in the industry for 20 years. When I started to work in rail, everyone felt sad with me that I need to work in the railway industry.
Because changed,
it was, and this is this is changing,
okay.
Because I always say trade is a new plague, maybe in a way. And what is changing in addition to the standards is how we work together. Because when I started, it was really, really standalone solutions. And I would say, yes, I worked also for carriers. The carriers did not want to work with startups, with scale-ups to create the right ecosystem to build something new. Today, it's completely different. We all have relationships, how we work together on a daily business as partners to bring the industry forward. Yeah? So to answer your question, standardization, a different approach of how to collaborate, and yes, and also a courage to do it, yeah, and to be brave enough to take also tough decisions from time to time.
And there are a lot of standards coming, TSI standards for cross-border ticketing, passenger mobility packages, European mobility data space, multimodal travel information service, whatever it is. But Björn, you mentioned already the airline industry, who probably most of this audience here is more familiar with. And let's compare it a bit, Paul. Are you jealous about the airlines? Do you, for instance, would love to have interlining or code sharing?
I think Eurostar is slightly different because we already have that in place. So we're one of the only rail carriers that uses GDSR as a distribution tool. We're not completely there from an interlining point of view, but we have a number of agreements in place that we already work on. I think where I am jealous of the airlines is they have this standardization. They've had it for 50 years. And that's allowed them to simplify timetables, 12-month timetable. And does that really exist in the rail industry? Generally, we've been working on a 3-month timetable. It's getting better and better and better, but we are behind the curve in terms of the airlines. There's no doubt about that. They've got a standardized set of systems, they've got a standardized set of timetables, they've got a standardized set of payment solutions. We don't have that from a rail industry point of view. It is absolutely getting better, but we're not there yet. And to take Björn's point, we're probably 10, 20 years behind them. So yes, I'm a little bit jealous that we don't have that, but actually part of it is to understand who do you want to reach in terms of your customer? Who are you trying to talk to? And there's different ways to reach them. Sometimes it's through your own website, sometimes it's through a partner, sometimes the business travelers sitting in New York. How do you want to reach that customer? And are you providing the tools from a distribution point of view to reach that customer? Because not every customer is going to come to our own website to buy a ticket. So how do we make sure we are partnering with the other operators, the other tech suppliers, the other distributors to make sure we are reaching as many customers as possible? And when competition comes, that's key. Because the bigger your distribution, the bigger your alignment, the bigger your network of partners, competition then has to play a very fast catch-up game. And competition, we know, is good for the customer. It means actually as a business, you've got to be much more agile and focused on the end results, which is how do you grow, how do you serve that customer to the best of your ability?
Very good answer. Now we make it a bit more complex. Guillermo, are you jealous about not having an IATA and a billing and settlement plan?
We do have an IATA as well. We are on GDS.
That's true. But you're not a full member of this.
But the thing is that for us, for example, for somebody looking up on GDS for a flight from Madrid to Barcelona. We appear as well with, as an airline, so I'm happy to be there. But still, there is a lot of work to be done, because in many cases, if it's not done through a GDS, we will not appear in many travel agent searches using other tools, or in many travelers using many OTAs that look for a Madrid-Barcelona ticket. We may not appear next to the airline, and we may not appear next to our competitor. So in some cases, the rail distribution systems are still acting as silos. Each company is integrated into the distribution system in a different way. So it's very difficult for the travel agents to compare, and it doesn't create an incentive for them to show the alternatives to the client. So there's a lot of work to be done for that. And we would like that in the future, both travel agents and travelers themselves, they all have access to multimodal integrated systems in which they can see all alternatives together and next to each other to show the best alternative for the client in terms of timing, quality, and price. So a lot of work to be done in that arena.
And another great thing, the airlines invented dynamic pricing. Are you working on this as well? Can you still learn from the airlines, or how are you doing this?
So as a distributor, we are just providing the prices that we are given.
Sure.
But that's true that apart from convenience, the price is probably the most important factor in the decision of a customer to take a specific train or a specific company or a specific schedule. So that's for sure something all the rail operators, being private or public, should work on. You're right.
Mm-hmm. May I add this? There are really surveys showing exactly this. Price and...
I think your microphone is...
Hello? No?
Sí.
See? Okay.
Can we get a hand mic for Björn?
It's not working anymore?
Okay.
Or maybe it's better now? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
It's working.
So, I just wanted to add that you see in all the surveys, price, safety, and convenience are the top three. And of course, price and safety belongs mainly to the operators. Convenience, we can add our part in really improving, increasing convenience at the end for the customer. But sustainability is number 6, 7, or 8. You're absolutely right.
Okay, let's talk a bit about sustainability finally. Of course, we all know it's important. We have to become net zero. Just a short answer from all of you. What happens with train within the next 20 years until 2045, when we would love to have net zero in Germany? How large are your estimated growth rates? Just a quick answer. Anne, starting with you.
I would not give you a direct answer, but I think that rail will be successful if it's integrated in a larger system. A larger system with public transport and all the other mobility solutions, and larger system integrated in Europe. That's my answer.
Okay. Guillermo.
So regarding the potential is quite large. Looking at the Spanish figures, it has grown from 20 million in 2019 to more than 30 million in 2023. So 10 million more with the entrance of competition, and this is just the beginning. So a lot of potential for growth.
Paul, will there be 0 flights from Paris to London in 2045?
Yeah, so like I say, we've got an ambition to grow to 30 million passengers. That 30 million passengers is going to come on the basis of sustainability is important. We know it's all important. You know, we want to get to be a complete green energy supply in terms of sustainable power for the trains. You know, it is a factor. Value for money or price is still going to be the most important element of that. So how do you balance value for money with a sustainability message? But also there's a key element around making sure, as Anne says, it's connected. You've got that joined-up connection. The governments also need to come out and support taking away the short-haul solutions from an airline where there's a rail option, because that's also key. It's happened in France. It hasn't happened in every other country yet. So there's definitely an element around replacing short-haul with rail going forward, and that sustainability message is key within that story.
Okay.
And in general, it's a double-digit growing industry in Europe, maybe cross-border even above 20%. So the growth rates are, yes, huge, but it's on us to create the capacity to increase the utilization rate. And at the end, to make it happen, that more and more people travel onto rail.
I hope, ladies and gentlemen, you got the relevance of this panel. I thank you so much.
Thank you.